Coach, that's Jackson. And we brought you socks.
Let's go. I love it.
Joining us right now as we prepare for the Elite Eight, head coach Dan Hurley, UConn student athletes Alex Caravan. We'll take a cup, please, Cam. Solo Ball, Silas Demery Jr., Braylon Mullins, and Terrace Reed Jr. We're going to get Coach a beverage. And we're going to ask Coach to make an opening statement as we head toward the Elite Eight and the UConn matchup with Duke. And then we'll take questions for Coach and for any of the athletes up here. Coach.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously excited about the game. Just drilled with these guys last night, grinding it out, gutting it out, and giving us the opportunity to play, in another big UConn Duke NCAA tournament game for big stakes. So thrilled to get the opportunity here in DC to get out here on Sunday.
Cam has a microphone on this side. Joey has one on that side. If you have a question for Coach or any of the UConn players, please raise your hand. Looking for the first question. Remember, the players will be down here for 20 or so minutes, 25 minutes, then they'll head to the breakout rooms. Go ahead.
Dave Borges, Hearst, Connecticut Media. Alex, do you feel like right now you're playing, maybe individually, you're playing the best basketball of your career? You've played a lot of games, a lot of big games, a lot of great games, but I think you're averaging 22 in this tournament, which is higher than almost any three-game average you've had, I think. And just with the clutch shots and everything, do you feel like you're playing, maybe you're picking the right time to play your very best of your career?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely feel like I'm playing my best. I feel the most confident I've probably felt in my entire career. I'm really just riding the hot hand that I have right now. So really, I feel great. I feel coaches are putting me in great positions. Teammates are having a lot of trust in me to take the shots. So I'm feeling confident right now.
Center of the room next. We're going to use the right side microphone. Go ahead, Mike.
What did your experiences as a teenager being able to spend time around your brother's Duke teams mean to you? And specifically, were you at the 1990 game in East Rutherford when Leitner beat UConn at the buzzer?
Yeah, I was there. I was there. I was in Denver. I was in Denver for for that UNLV. I was at that. I was at the Leitner game. I was in Indy for that rematch with UNLV. And then the Kansas game, obviously, when Duke won their first. I was in Philly when Duke kicked our butt when I was at Seton Hall. In 2004, I was in San Antonio, sat next to my brother for that Duke UConn game, that classic semifinal game. So, yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of them.
Center of the room, just to the left of the aisle, Dana.
Dana O'Neill with CNN Sports. Hello. Dan, you were talking yesterday, I'm going to kind of call you out on the Blue Blood question. When you look at your own program, what you guys have achieved, not just you, but Coach Calhoun and everyone, if there aren't Blue Bloods, what are you guys then?
What somebody just mumble something?
Solo, go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, we're one of the biggest places you could play college basketball. I think all things being equal, all things being equal, NIL or players would prefer all things being equal, meaning like the NIL is in the ballpark. Players would want to still go and play in the biggest places for the coaches that are going to help them become better players, give them the best chance to play deep into this tournament, develop their career, have an incredible experience. So yeah, I mean, I think right now, if you've got the resources and the support, relying on history, brand, tradition to carry you in recruiting, I think that's over. But all things being equal, if a player has a chance to go play at a Duke or a UConn or a big place where the coaching and the development and the chance to play deep into this tournament, I think they're still going to take that.
Back of the room in the center, Zach.
Zach Peerless, CBS Sports. For Terrace and for Alex, Cameron Boozer uses as many pump fakes as anyone that I've seen in college basketball. What makes the pump fake so good, especially his? And then how do you try to toe that line of being aggressive and being physical but not biting for those pump fakes?
We'll ask Alex to take that first, then Terrace.
Yeah, I think just staying disciplined. I mean, he obviously has a great pump fake, just like the rest of their guys, and just staying disciplined, not falling for it, and really just just having trust in your technique. But we know that he likes to do it, and we just gotta just remain true to the scouting report.
Terrace.
Yeah, piggyback off Alex. Like I said, be disciplined, stay down, and make him finish over length. Make it as difficult as possible to make for him to score in the post. So, like I said, wall up and make him finish over you.
To the center of the room.
Amanda Kristovich, Front Office Sports. Dan, for you, following up on the blue blood question. I mean, blue blood Cinderellas. I mean, is it maybe time to retire these monikers? Like, what do they even really mean in this point in the NIL era?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, blue blood, I don't even know. I look at, I think you're right. I'm sorry, I only slept for 3.5 hours, so I'm struggling a little bit. I just think the playing field has been leveled so much in our sport that, again, if you've got the resources, if you're willing to commit in basketball, to have the best coaching staff, to obviously have the healthy NIL, to travel and facilities, and to run at a first-class level, whether you're a mid-major like High Point or you're Duke or UConn, you have as good a chance to consistently be in this tournament and be in contention. So I'm with you.
Kyle.
Kyle Tucker, 24/7 Sports. Sort of along those lines, without belaboring that point, one of the most interesting things anybody said yesterday on this topic was Izzo said, I kind of still like the term because it's something you earn over time, consistency for in this like era of upheaval, roster, all the change. Is this game tomorrow, you and Duke, an example of consistency still winning in this sport? I mean, roster consistency, program consistency. How much does consistency matter?
Yeah, I think I think it speaks to just the university, the commitment that that Duke makes to basketball, the commitment that UConn makes to the sport. How important it is to both universities, how much a part of the identity and of the universities. Obviously, they're both world class. Institutions, but basketball is critically important, and I think you look at we're programs that in the last 30 years have had a high level of dominance in this sport. We're since the 90s, UConn and Duke have been the two best college basketball programs on the men's side. In the last 30 years. So it's a pretty cool matchup.
Up front to the right of the aisle, Dom.
Silas, can you, to the extent that you can share it, can you give us an idea of what you go through on game day to be able to get out there with the injury you have? I know it's something that usually doesn't get better unless you rest it, which you don't have the luxury of doing now. So what's your game day prep to get ready to get out there?
My game day routine kind of just to prepare is wake up, eat some breakfast, and automatically get right to treatment. That's like complex, doing a lot of stuff on the Bosu ball, game ready, massage boots, it's a mix of all of that. And then get here a little early, jumps on the Bosu ball, stretching, taping, and then just trying to run around staying as warm as possible. So just doing a bunch of those things throughout the course of the day, and really using an orange band, just doing like little gas pumps just to keep my ankle warm.
Back of the room, guys, next on the right side.
Robbie Listell at Bracketeer.org. My question's for Dan. In terms of Caleb Foster with Duke, even Coach Shire was kind of surprised with the impact he made last night. Are you guys game planning for him to be 100%? And what kind, from your standpoint, what kind of impact does he make on Duke when he's fully healthy?
Yeah, I mean that was, we're marveling at what Silas is doing, and I know John feels the same way. Silas hasn't taken a live rep in practice since the Big East championship game. I mean, that's how big of a gamer and a warrior that this guy is. And I know I know John feels the same way. And just to have a guard with his experience, two-way player, excellent defender, great decision maker, shooting, I think, over 40% from three, calming influence, to go along with Boozer, to have two guys at that position that you could even play together. Just such a lift. I mean, just emotionally, confidence-wise for their team, it's really the same thing for us, just having Silas, out there for us since that UCLA game, those guys getting him back, huge confidence builder for the people around him.
Same area on the right side, right of the aisle. Adam.
Yeah, hey guys, Adam Zagoria. I guess for Alex and Solo, with all this talk about Duke, you guys have won 2 championships in the last 3 years, but there has been no Duke UConn games during that time. It's kind of weird that teams haven't played in 11 or 12 years. What is the significance of UConn playing Duke, and does it mean anything special to you that it is these 2 big programs that Coach is saying?
Alex, first, please.
I think it's extremely special. I mean, you have 2 of the biggest brands in college basketball going at it to make it to the Final Four. So I think it's super special. I think it's super exciting. I know we're excited as a team because, you've seen Duke, you've seen UConn throughout your entire life when you watch college basketball growing up. And to be another piece of that story of those 2 programs going at it, I think it's awesome.
Solo.
Yeah, I think AK put it best. Duke UConn is just 2 storied dynasties competing for the same goal, winning the national championship, especially it being in D.C. at this venue with just all the great coaches that are here, too. So, I mean, it's definitely very significant.
Up front on the right, Crispy.
This is for Braylon and Silas. How did the experience of playing in Boston against BYU, at the Garden against Florida, in Illinois, and those big games of the Garden against St. John's help you guys at this point playing in these arenas in these significant games?
I'd probably say just playing in those games early, playing in those venues. I think just being able to, when teams go on runs, being able to take that punch and just be calm and be poised. I think in those games we were up and then team made a run and we were able to take that punch and respond the right way. So I think being able to be in those venues, knowing that I think they played there against Illinois in one of the prior runs. So just knowing that those are venues we're going to be playing at, like especially like being here. So being able to just respond the right way and being able to just do the right thing.
Terrace, you want to take that one also? Or Brandon, you want to?
Yeah, I'm with it.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I think it just kind of built the adversity that we were able to play with, and just having those non-con games, and just being able to play those games early in the season kind of helped us throughout the course of the year. And I mean, it's kind of built us for these moments and playing in front of these crowds, and so I think we're all ready for it. We all prepare for it. So I think it's just another game.
Did you want to Terrace, or ready to roll?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, that's what you come to UConn for, to play in these big games, and I feel like these big arenas help with the nerves. You're playing in front of thousands of people every week, and it could be a lot of pressure for some. So I feel like we've done a good job just taking on the chin and being able to really fight and go out there and give it our all.
Up front on the left.
This is for Solo. You played a lot of high school ball in Maryland and Virginia. How meaningful is it to be back in the DMV for the Elite Eight in front of family and friends?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I peeped the Bullets sweatsuit you had on, so no, it's definitely cool to be back. Yeah,
shout out.
Shout out Eric, shout out Ryman, man. But yeah, no, it's definitely an honor being back here playing in DC. But I mean, really just grateful. But I'm not taking it for more than what it is. I'm just happy to be here and just continue to move on.
Seth Davis too.
Up front center, Dan, right?
Yeah, Dan Zakrzewski, Outkick. If I could, I'd love to ask a question of the athletes and then Coach, if I can.
Any of the athletes?
Actually, for all of them, I want to know. You talked a little bit about Cam Boozer, but I'm wondering from every one of your perspectives, going into a game where you're facing a guy who's likely going to be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft. What is your mindset facing a guy like that?
We'll start with Alex, and we'll move this way.
I mean, your mindset is he's a really good player. I mean, the impact that he has on Duke this season and the impact that he's done nationally, I mean, he's a really good player, and you just got to prepare for him as if we would prepare for any other great player. So really knowing the challenge that we have ahead as a team and really making sure that it's not on one sole player, it's a 5-man issue on defense and trying to make everything difficult for him.
Solo.
Yeah, I mean, AK said it to a T. Playing a talented guy like Boozer, you know he's ultra talented, but they have so many other talented guys, so you got to be able to focus on the whole team as a whole, but also just to be able to handle those matchups when that time comes. But I think it's really just focused on that, just really focus on the whole team. It's not just focused on one individual player.
Go ahead, Silas.
I feel like they kind of said it all. I mean, he's a very great player. He's done a lot for the team. I feel like he's like the key piece to what they have going on, and he gets everybody going. So just being able to not make him obviously being a top 3 pick bigger than what it is, it's just another game we have to play. Another guy we got to defend and follow the game plan and do what we need to do to get a win.
We'll wrap that one before we get to Braylon and Terrace. Dan has a question for Coach.
You've talked in the past about your Catholic faith, and I'd like you to expound on that a little bit and talk about how that shapes you as a coach and how it helps you, especially in these big moments.
Yeah, for me, my faith. Well, first of all, I'm Catholic school educated all the way up through college. So from grammar school, Our Lady of Mercy, to St. Anthony, to Seton Hall. So Catholic school educated, and for me, my faith in tough times is gives me the strength to endure the difficulties, the challenges that life presents you, whether they're health or family or professional. And then my faith also, when things are going great, it gives me a humility, to not celebrate these great successes, and to live with humility that. There's a being, and there's a spirituality is a lot greater, than me, and that's my Lord and Savior.
Right side of the room, midway back.
Hey, Coach. Matt Demick, Daily Campus. One of the biggest crowd pops I saw from your side of the sideline or biggest pops from your bench was when Stu hit that 3. Can you talk a little bit about what he means to the team? And I talked to him in the locker room yesterday. He said he's feeling 100%. Do you think he'll have an added role on Sunday?
That was me.
Yes.
Me? Okay.
That was for you.
Yeah, listen, there's I don't think there's anybody in the locker room that is there anybody you guys don't like in there? I could get rid of them. We're running out of time. No, we got a great locker room. I mean, we don't recruit. I don't bring anyone into the circle or into the locker room that the player is going to look at me and say, "Hey, who's this guy?" So the locker room is filled with great guys, just like Jay Stu, and throughout the roster. And he's an easy guy to root for. He's a guy that has stayed at UConn when it would have been easier for him to leave, and he's a real UConn man, and he's a sweetheart of a guy. I mean, he's funny. He's funny. He's just a great guy. So he's an easy guy to root for, and I think he hadn't taken many live reps. I think he took maybe one day of live practice reps before he got into yesterday's game. So. He's definitely more viable, for tomorrow.
We have just about a minute left for player questions. Your question for the players or for Coach? It's for Coach. We'll get to that in a second. That's for Coach also. Well, with that, we'll let Alex, Solo, Silas, Braylon, and Terrace head to the breakout areas. Again, those are near the media workroom, that part of the building. They're going to head there and begin their breakout sessions from 3:15 to 3:30. They'll be on their way there. Coach is with us here until 3:30. Thanks, Big Guy. Thank you.
Sorry about the tablet.
We'll go to the back right.
Sorry about the tablet, too, guys. I'm like the child of a bad parent. You know, I just throw the tablet in front of your kid and let him just fucking. Sorry.
I think you're
I'm
making
closing it. I'm closing it.
You're
Sorry.
making efficient use of your time, I think, Coach.
You see these kids, right? The bad parent. Just throw a tablet in front of your kid. What are you watching? I'm watching Duke.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I'm watching Duke Possessions and Game of Thrones.
On the right.
Hey, Coach Sam Calhoun, Daily Campus. Coach John Shirer's become one of the top coaches in such a short time, and even with the pressure of succeeding Coach K, you know how that pressure is with the past predecessors. What do you like about the way he coaches his team and gets these guys going?
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive. You know, I can't imagine that. You know, at his age as a first-time head coach, just how he's been able to handle not only the responsibility of having the program where it is, but yeah, I mean, you know, like first-time head coach, Duke is your first job. To be able to roster construct, get your team to play both ends of the court efficiently. You know, I think when you start to study them too, I think you have this impression of Duke where they're just going to be like really talented, obviously organized, but like they play incredibly hard. Like they're as hard a playing team, and just what they did with St. John's being that plus on the backboard yesterday. So yeah, I mean the roster construction, his ability to handle everything at that age. If I was at his age, I wouldn't have been able to handle the Duke job. So very impressive.
Coach, we'll move up front to the left side.
How old is he? Where was I then? Shit, I might have been at St. Benedict's. Let's go. Gray Bees.
Hey, I was going to ask you about the tablet, but we got there. You joked saying I got 3 hours of sleep last night, and I feel like that might be on the high end estimate, right? Just what is that turnaround like? And not even take it where you want with the late game, but even if you were playing at 7, what that turnaround is like this weekend.
Yeah, it's fast. And, Luke's been, Luke Kamani and Mike Nardi, obviously they break up the scouts, and Luke's been on Duke. So, a lot of that prep has been done. Obviously you're adding, whatever we saw from last night's game to that, but it's like cramming for an exam. Like it's like really, truly, game ended last night. You're not going to be able to go to sleep right away anyway. I mean, like you can't turn the adrenaline. Plus, with how caffeinated I am, like you see what I'm drinking at the scores table. I was just so caffeinated that I watched 2 games because I knew I wouldn't fall asleep until around 4, and then I was up by 7:30, and then you catch 2.5 more games before we get here. And I want to try to catch another half before I get on the court. So at least I've got 5 games in on Duke. There's really not a lot you're going to be able to do on the court. You're going to walk through some things. You're going to do some light shooting. I'd imagine both of us will skip shoot around here tomorrow and do a walkthrough at the hotel. I'll try to get to sleep tonight. I'm banking that I'm going to be able to get to bed by around 10 o'clock tonight, 10:30, and hopefully get a good 8.5, 9 hours. Hopefully my Aura Ring gives me something in the high 80s. No, I supplement. I do a lot of magnesium. Was it L-thornate? I haven't always responded well to melatonin. I get a little groggy and grumpy, and I coach worse when I'm grumpy. Dose down.
Back of the room on the right side.
Robbie Listella, Bracketier.org. A lot is made about the impact of veteran guards here in March, but how have you kind of seen Braylon grow throughout this tournament run so far, and how have you kind of seen him lean on some of the other veterans for that growth?
Yeah, I think with Braylon, and however we evaluate, these talented players, these future, NBA, high draft picks is, it's strictly what you see from shooting, scoring, and I think what a lot of people miss with Braylon is just how well he's able to hold up for us defensively, and how well he's able to hold up for us on the backboard from a physicality standpoint, for an ability to function defensively and offensively in a system and be in the right places. You don't get far in this tournament unless your freshman can do that. Like the guy he's a three-way player. He's on the glass. He's a critical threat on offense, but he's also like an underrated defensive player with a maturity about him where if he goes through stretches of the game where he's not getting shots, not making shots, he keeps playing winning basketball.
Back of the room toward the right, Jeff.
Jeff Borzello, ESPN. You've been in a lot of these short turnaround preps over the last 4 years. Where does Boozer kind of stack up among kind of the challenging 36-hour turnarounds, and what specific, challenges does he pose for you?
Yeah, he's Boozer's a unique challenge, because of, just where he's a threat pretty much from everywhere. He scores, at the three-point line at a pretty efficient clip. Obviously, he's devastating, in and around the paint, on the offensive glass. But what makes him unique is how much he plays on ball, and then, the way that they kind of ball screen him. Probably the only thing we've seen similar to that was Iguodala at Marquette a little bit. They used him as a handler, and they would ball screen him as opposed to him being the roller or the popper as a big. But he's such a warrior, and he's such a relentless player. So, obviously with him and with Evans and the depth of all of their, talent, and then, you've just got to figure out the things that you want to take away from him, the things that you're not going to allow him to do in the game. You can't take everything away. So, we got to pick and choose. Are we going to let him play one-on-one in the post versus Taris? Or will we allow him to play one-on-one in the post versus Caravan? Or are we trapping that? Are we going to make him beat us from the three-point line? Are we going to blitz him when, or go under those ball screens? We got to make decisions on a quick turnaround on what we're going to do.
Up front, Tom.
Dan, I know you were asked earlier about Brendan Byrne Arena in 1990. Right?
House of Horrors for me, buddy.
Yeah. Can you kind of put into perspective, I don't know if irony is the right word, but that was really the very birth of UConn as a national program, was that weekend. You were there for that.
Yeah.
And you think about what was set in motion that weekend, that UConn became what it became, and now you're the man in charge of it.
Yeah, I was like literally in the end zone on the Tate George, like I was like right behind that pass. So, yeah, I mean, my family just has obviously got this special connection with Duke, with Bob, and how much that has meant to our family, those moments, my brother's success and the amazing run he had there, and now, being on the UConn side of it, kind of an arch rival this time of year, some heartbreaking moments on both sides. To find myself, I would not have imagined, I'd be on either side of this. So pretty cool to be in an Elite Eight game versus Duke here, after having witnessed so much of it.
Center of the room, Kyle.
Kyle Tucker, 24/7 Sports. Yeah, I read a nice article about you in the Athletic earlier this year about the kinder, gentler Dan Hurley, and just some of the lessons that you took from last year, and maybe how you gripped the reins.
Yeah.
What's the one from last year? The thing you learned about yourself, or how to coach these guys, that has stuck the most this year as you've navigated this one?
Yeah. Listen, the way that you prepare your team, the standard of practice, what's acceptable in terms of the efforts that we make, and the level of preparation, the willingness to give everything you have for what the team needs this time of year during during the we season, not the me season. The me season's coming. Portal's going to open, and the NIL negotiations will begin. But the standards of preparation, practice, how demanding I am from that standpoint, that'll never change. But I think for me, the focus with this team that I've never gotten away from, which caused me to coach really poorly last year, was, and I think this is what Gino helped me a lot with, was like just get the most out of your team. Like you're not always going to have the best team in the country. You're not always going to have the 24 team, and you can't coach your team mad the whole year. When you go back to back and your ego is so wrapped up in three-peat dynasty, anything less than a national championship is unacceptable. Just a warped way of thinking. You're not going to win this tournament every year. It's a really hard tournament to advance in, and it's gotten even harder with the way that things are set up now with NIL and portal. It's gotten even more difficult to advance in now. So I give myself the grace. I give the team the grace of let's just be the best that we could be with what we've put together, have the best season that we could possibly have, and enjoy the journey with each team. And it's taken a lot of pressure off. I think I've taken pressure off myself. I think my team is looser and has played looser this year. I'm not as uptight, and I'm not as big a monster, which is better for everyone except social media. And the TVs, camera people that just keep that camera on me nonstop and pull the camera off other coaches, and they're in mid-meltdown. I'm always wonder why they pull the camera off.
Back of the room on the right.
Trayvon Miles, ABC 11 in Durham. Dan, you brought up Duke a couple of times over the last few years, whether it's in recruiting battles or last year in Raleigh with the talk about home and home. I'm wondering if this one means a little bit more to you because of who the opponent is, or are you too tired to even think about that right now?
I mean, I'm definitely tired, but I think relative to the scheduling piece, I think the direction of things is, I think we're all as we're in rev share mindset trying to play the best non-conference games that we could all play, the benefit to that is obviously the ratings have been great this year for college, and we're all looking to play these games to generate more money now that we're in rev share. It doesn't have any more meaning. I don't who we're playing, whether it was Illinois in 24 or Gonzaga in 23 in these games. It's really, I've got a lot of respect and admiration for Duke, for John, for the job that he's done now that I've had a chance to kind of, see what he's done across his time as the head coach there. It's very, very impressive. The start to his career is pretty remarkable. So, I'm just, I guess, it's just pretty cool game, man. Obviously there's a lot at stake. Playing in the Final Four, like first weekend's awesome. Second weekend is everything gets bigger and better, but then the Final Four is the what. So, that's basically, what we're both looking at here. Pretty nameless, faceless opponent, but obviously the electricity meter on a Duke UConn Elite Eight game, it's a big deal.
Toward the back, Dana. Well, that was a behind the back pass with that mic. That's impressive, Cam.
No look.
Dana O'Neill, CNN Sports. Dan, I think people would look at Alex and you and think you two are not terribly similar, but yet I know he's got a fire to him. How are you guys alike, and how has he grown into that over the years that he's been under your care, if you will?
Yeah, I think we're both pretty. Well, Alex is pretty introverted, except when basketball starts, and then he becomes an extrovert. There's a metamorphosis with this guy because he's kind of like nerdy, quiet, especially early on, awkward socially. If you look at the first pictures of him when like the first media picture. He's like Ichabod Crane from the Headless Horseman, like look about him, and now he's all swagged out. So he's come a long way that way. How we similar, while we're driving our car, we're thinking about basketball. When we're in the shower, we're thinking about basketball. When we're sleeping and we wake up, we're thinking about basketball. And my wife, Andrea, and my boys, Andrew and Danny. And then I quickly started thinking about basketball. And we obsess over the game. We obsess over our love of the game, of the team. We obsess, and we share that obsession.
Center of the room, Ralph.
Ralph Russo from The Athletic. Dana kind of took most of my question, but I would just ask with Alex, do you ever worry at all about putting too much of the leadership on him because he is good at it, but he even said it's not necessarily something that comes natural to him?
Yeah, I just think it's the responsibility of his greatness. It's the responsibility of being a senior and a two-time champion and one of the biggest winners in the history of this tournament. And it's part of his development, just as a man, as somebody that's going to enter the NBA, a huge business, trying to earn a roster spot, trying to earn a rotation spot on a team with grown men that are fighting tooth and nail to keep their roster spot or keep their rotation spot. Like he's entering that world. So, and then, eventually he's heading into husband, fatherhood, head of a family, where he's going to have to carry himself like a leader for the rest of his life.
On the right side, Adam.
I guess recruiting-wise, can you kind of give a big picture look? Is there a difference between how Duke and UConn recruit? I mean, this team lost Cooper Flagg, then they bring in Cam Boozer. A lot of people think they don't even really recruit. They just pick the best players that they want. After the Cooper Flagg thing, you said UConn should be able to compete, will compete with any team in the country for players. Are they sort of on their own level in recruiting, or do you feel UConn is right there? How would you explain that difference?
I mean, listen, there's no denying the power of the Duke brand, and they've earned it. I mean, they've been, with what Coach K did, building the program, and my brother was obviously a part of that. I mean, these guys were, they were the Beatles, man, in the early '90s, and what that meant to the growth of college basketball, and what Coach K has meant to the growth of college basketball, and the stars that have played there, the championships. They've earned their position in college basketball. John has shown that he's going to keep it at that level. But UConn has also earned its position in the sport with our championship level success, our success with putting players in the NBA. Having one of the great fan bases, just like the Duke fan base. So, there's we feel like we could recruit, up against any program in the country. It's always challenging to recruit against Duke because they've got, there's a lot behind that brand, but they go for the players that fit them, and we've been very successful looking for our type of player as well.
Up front, Wayne.
Wayne Norman, UConn Sports Network. Dan, Terrace has had some monster games in the last month. I think in the last 7 games he's averaging a double-double. What do you attribute this explosion recently to?
I think with Terrace or any player, I think just at some point, you hope that the light switch comes on in time. And, maybe it's the life or death urgency to this time of year, which has created that urgency, that focus, that concentration, that locking into the identity, the motor, where it's now or never. Maybe it was the pain of the Big East championship game. A lot of times in life, it takes pain and suffering to make changes. And, maybe some of those brutal film sessions, not winning the Big East tournament, has galvanized him to to no longer play below what he's capable of. You know, when he plays at the level that he's capable of playing at, we could beat any team in the country, and he's as good as any center in the country.
We'd like to thank Coach Hurley for joining us here in the main interview room. He's going to head on to other responsibilities for the day. We'll
Thank
see
you.
back
Appreciate
tomorrow.
everybody.
Good luck tomorrow.
Back to my tablet.
Coach, you got to go with what's lucky, I think.